All right, guys, welcome to another episode of the Self-Made Show. I've got a good buddy of mine, Nicholas Scalice. Actually, he's not a good buddy. Hopefully he'll be a good buddy down the road, but we got introduced about a month ago. And man, this guy's really bright. He's got a lot of good information on email marketing, and he's going to be so generous to share with us 7 of his list building strategies. So Nicholas, welcome to the show.
Hey, it's great to be here, Jason.
Cool, man. So I guess just give us your brief, bio, a little bit about how you got started in the online business and email marketing.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I've been working in marketing for about 7 years. I really started in social media marketing back when I was in college. That was sort of a little business I started on the side, just going door to door to local businesses and selling social media marketing services back in like 2008, 2009. Back when social media still had that mysterious allure to it. So It was a lot easier to sell. You'd go into a business, you'd say, hey, I would do a little research up front. Hey, your Facebook page could use XYZ, your Twitter page. Half the time they weren't even on Twitter. So I did that all throughout college. Then once I graduated, I did that full time. I ultimately went and worked for a digital marketing agency just to get some agency experience, which I definitely recommend anyone interested in going into marketing. If you can, try to go get an internship or work at an agency, because it's just a completely different world. It'll blow your mind in terms of, if you pick the right agency. It's such a hustle and bustle industry. And then after that, I went out on my own just to become an independent consultant. And recently, for about the last year, I've really been focused just on inbound marketing, which I'm sure is a term very familiar to many of those in your audience. If it's not familiar, I'd be happy to expand upon it, but that's really been my focus for about the last year.
Yeah, can you expand just a little bit about inbound marketing? Because I know there's a lot of terms that we fly around, but can you just kind of touch on that for a little bit?
Absolutely. So inbound marketing is a term that was originally coined by HubSpot, which is a very popular, almost enterprise level software platform for marketers that's been around for quite a while. And inbound marketing, really all it means is it's the opposite of outbound marketing or interruption marketing. So we can think of interruption marketing as traditional television advertising, things that interrupt your daily behavior that are not personalized to you or to what you're looking for. So inbound marketing comes along and says, hey, we want to provide you value. And when we provide you value, we might also be selling a product, but what comes first and foremost is making sure that we understand you as a customer, you as our target audience, and that we provide you with the most value possible so that you know, like, and trust us, because those are really the things you need to sell someone something. They need to know about you, they need to like you, and ultimately they need to trust you. And so once you build up that rapport through content, that's where you can then nurture that relationship you have and ultimately close the deal. So it's a longer term marketing process than just paid media advertising, although paid advertising is a part of it, but it really incorporates all the different tactics you could think of as that you would use as a marketer, from social media marketing, SEO, which is search engine optimization, landing page optimization, lead generation, email marketing, and a lot of content marketing. Content marketing is really the hub that holds inbound marketing together.
Cool, man. I'm excited, dude. I always tell people I learn as much as my audience does doing these calls. So I'm excited about it, man. I've been studying a lot of like the Ryan Deiss stuff. Like,
from Digital Marketer.
Yeah, that's what he talks about. I mean, just like, like it's not 1945 where you can just run an ad about something and get people to buy it.
But a lot of businesses are still doing that.
Yeah, man. So
they need to wake up.
They need to wake up, man. Yeah. So, well, let's get on to it, man, because you were kind enough to put a list together of your 7 tips for building a good email list, a nice sizable email list that we can practice some of these inbound marketing tips. So let's just start with the first number 1 tip that you would recommend. And I don't know what order you put it in, but
yeah, they're not really in any particular order, but as everyone out there knows, your email list is the core part of your business as an online marketer. You're only as good as your list. So, these are very important tips. It's important to always be working towards building a bigger list. Like, that should be a part of everything you do. So my first tip is, the old notion that you just go to someone's website and you have like one of those little newsletter boxes and it's very generic and that's good enough. No, those don't work. What's really going to help is if you customize your opt-in forms so that they're specific to the content that you're producing, down to the post level. So like if you're posting an article, about personal development tips, you want to have a content offer. You want to have an upgrade or an opt-in offer on that particular post that is specifically related to motivation or whatever that topic is. Because the more relevant your opt-in offer is, or your upgrade, whatever you want to call it, it's really it's what you're trying to promote. The more specific it is to the actual content that you have on your site, the more relevant it will be to your visitors, and the higher the chance that you'll get someone to opt in. So I would say, that to sum it up, tip number one is, if you're just doing the general, check out my newsletter, subscribe if you want to. No, that doesn't work anymore. And we're all guilty of it, and it definitely takes a lot more time. And it's something that even I'm trying to work towards, going back to my old posts and trying to upgrade each one or create a unique offer for each one, a PDF download of the 10 tips to do X, Y, and Z, and basically baking it into that post so that it's very, very specific.
And if you guys want to see some of Nick's blog, it's earnworthy.com is the main hub people can find you at, right?
Absolutely.
And you got a pretty slick t-shirt. Can you show that off? Because I don't know if it's there.
Sure,
I
like
that, man. And yeah, I like what you're saying, because I listen to like Tim Page from Lead Pages. He's like, every blog post will have and it's easy. Like, you can take your blog post, turn it into a PDF, because people like to download it. So yeah, I like that. So tip number one, just create unique content. And yeah, no one wants to sign up for a newsletter. No one cares. You know what I mean? Like, that's that's like the easy way. But so I like that. Okay, cool, man. So tip number two, what do you got?
So tip number two is to really treat every page of your website as a landing page. And that statement alone is a little bit controversial. I wrote a blog post about it, and there was some back and forth of, well, not every page is a landing page. So, it's to be taken in context. So basically what I'm saying is that you have to understand your visitor, and you have to understand the visit. Understand why they're coming to a particular page on your site. Why are they visiting a particular blog post? Why are they visiting your about page? And try to get in their mind and get in their mindset of, okay, they're on my about page to learn more about me or about my company. So that will help you craft your content upgrade for that particular page. Again, it goes back to step number one, or tip number one. You want to be very specific. So you also want to treat every single page as a landing page. And the basic premise of a landing page is, you want to strip away all the stuff that's not necessary. Strip it down to the essentials. Do you really need 20 different social media buttons for every single network, or do you just need Twitter and Facebook? Do you really need to have 6 different offers going on, or things popping up all over, or do you want one core thing to pop up that's very relevant to the content? So you want to think of your pages, even think of your blog posts in that sense, like it's a landing page where people are coming there because they have a particular problem that they think you can help them solve, and try to solve that, and try to solve it through the content you're providing, and then try to go the extra step to provide them even more value if they were to opt in, and that hopefully will increase the rate of opt-ins for you.
I like that. Yeah, keep it clean. I was on my blog, and I was like looking at all the social share buttons, and it had like all these like 20 of them that I didn't even, like, half of them I didn't even know. Like, no one like, people are going to probably share your stuff to like Facebook or Twitter. You know what I mean? That's like, and then some of these, whatever. So yeah, so keep it clean, keep it like dummy proof, like give people like no option, and I like that. So, yeah, man. And some of these things that you constantly like just researching and testing out new stuff for your site and clients and things like that?
Absolutely. Yeah. My own site is a testing ground. Just this week, I decided to remove the sidebar completely.
Okay.
Because that's been something that's, I love having a sidebar on a website. You can add so much more stuff, but that's totally counterproductive to what I was just talking about having one goal, one focus. The content should be the focus, not the sidebar. So it's something I'm testing out. A month from now, I'll probably write a blog post about it, seeing if my opt-in rate went higher. But there is a lot of good research out there that says removing a sidebar will help you focus the attention of your audience, as long as you still have a very predominant opt-in box or popover. You still need something there. But think of it like this: mobile traffic is starting to surpass desktop traffic, and as we all know, you don't see a sidebar in the same way on a mobile device as you would on desktop. For the most part, it's usually pushed down below the main body of content. So it just, if you have an opt-in in their sidebar and you have an opt-in below your post in like the post footer area, that's just going to double up, and you're going to now have 2 opt-ins on a mobile device, and that just doesn't look right. It doesn't give the right experience. So I would say definitely if you're thinking about removing a sidebar, you should probably try it out, test it out on your own blog, and see if that gets you higher conversions.
Right. Yeah, I'm all about keeping it clean. Like if you look at Apple, you look at all these websites, like they don't have 80,000 little things going. And you're right about mobile. I run an e-commerce website, and I was looking at my traffic, and I think like over 50% of my traffic is going to an e-commerce website. So
unbelievable.
I'm assuming blogs or even more, because like you don't have to buy stuff on a blog typically. So
and just a few years ago, they were saying, oh, people would never buy anything on a mobile device because it's like too, filling out all the credit card information. But now you could save it automatically. It's so much easier. That's where it's going. And so a lot of designers say when you're designing your site, when you're thinking of all these different conversion optimizing tactics, think mobile first.
Yeah, exactly. So cool, man. Number 3, what else can we do to grow our email list?
Absolutely. So my big thing is sharing tools. I love to share different inbound marketing tools. I have a podcast called Inbound Unboxed, which is really where we unbox digital marketing tools for inbound marketers in particular. So I want to share one of my favorite tools, and I'm not affiliated with any of these tools that I mentioned, other than usually as a customer and as a user. So this tool is called Opt-in Monster. And what Opt-in Monster is, it started as a WordPress plugin to collect email addresses from your site using popover boxes, using lead forms. And it's similar. There's some other tools out there that are very similar, like SumoMe.
Right.
There's one called Bloom. There's Hello Bar. So there are a few other ones in this space that create basically different ways that you can tie your email list to your website and then create these really dynamic forms. But the one that I love, the one that I use on my site, the one that I think has the most features and it's the best value is Opt-in Monster. And so I think it's optinmonster.com. And what's great about it is now you don't even need a WordPress site to use it. You can embed it on any site. And they have a lot of cool stuff that some of the other ones either didn't have originally or are now just starting to have. And one of those features is something called exit intent technology. So you've probably been to a website before, and just as you're about to scroll out to X out, then the popover appears.
Right.
And so that's basically called exit intent technology. It tracks your mouse behavior, and it only works on desktop. That's the only downside. It tracks your mouse behavior so that it knows about when you're going to leave that site or leave that page, and that's when it'll show you the popover form. And that's been very effective to get people to stay on page a little bit longer, reduce your bounce rate, and get them to opt in. So if you're looking for a tool to really supercharge your site and to create a very easy way to collect email addresses, Opt-in Monster is really one of the best products out there. And the other good thing about it is you can be very specific with how you set it up. So earlier I was mentioning, have a very unique offer for each blog post. You can do that with Opt-in Monster, and it'll even deliver the opt-in, the lead magnet for you. So they have a lead magnet delivery system. So you could say, okay, I want to send the 5 best tips for personal productivity to these people that opt in on this page, and on the other page, I want to send them an email course on 10 days to becoming a better time management professional, whatever. So you can definitely segment the different offers using something like Opt-in Monster.
That's a great one. I've actually used them before, like where you can have at the bottom of your blog post, or so when I go to your website, earnworthy.com, is that using Opt-in Monster, that first pop-up, or is that?
It is, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, man, it's really easy to set up, and it's like you said, there's 7 or 8 different opt-ins that you can have on your website, so it's pretty dynamic. I've experimented with some other ones, and they're a little buggy. One, the whole thing took over the whole screen. I'm like, dude, this is not going to be good. So Opt-in Monster, I can definitely vouch for it. Very, very good program. So awesome. Cool, man. Thanks for sharing that. Cool. So we're moving right along, man. Tip number 4.
Tip number 4. So it's important to build an email list, but where does all that data go? How are you managing all the emails that you're collecting? That's another tool. That you're going to need another tool for that. Right. So there's so many different email service providers out there. We could spend a whole show just trying to compare the top 10 email service providers. I'm going to give you two though, and these are the two best in my opinion, based on your needs. So number one is called GetResponse, and GetResponse has been around for a while, and it's good if you're looking for the basics, but you want something that's a little bit more advanced. It has a very clean interface. It allows you to collect email addresses. It integrates with a lot of third-party tools, so you can plug Opt-in Monster into it directly, so that if someone fills out your form on your site using Opt-in Monster, it'll send that lead to your GetResponse account automatically to whatever list you want, and then you can send automated emails to them. It has a very robust autoresponder tool, so that you could say, people that are added to this list, I want them to receive my welcome message, and then 2 days later, I want them to receive another message that maybe asks a few questions like, hey, how can I help you? And then a month later, I want them to get this message. So you can create autoresponders, you can create just regular email blasts. It has a lot of cool features like that, a lot of great templates, and it's all drag and drop, so you don't need to be a designer to create a really nice looking email.
Okay.
Now, at the other end of the spectrum, if you want something even more robust, I would recommend a product called ActiveCampaign. And so ActiveCampaign is it's an email service provider, but where they stand out is they have really embraced what's called marketing automation. And I'm telling you, marketing automation is going to be a big deal this year. We're not really hearing that much about it yet, but believe me, a year from now, you're going to say, yeah, 2016.
Marketing automation.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
2016 was the year of marketing automation. I mean, if you look at Google Trends, you could see the curve going up. People are really starting to embrace marketing automation. And all that means is it's basically creating different workflows based on the behavior that someone takes on your website or in an email, if they click on a specific link, or if they visit a particular page. And then based on that action, you can then send them a very specific message. You can time different events. And so it's just a way to create a very personalized relationship with each visitor of your site that you would not be able to do. A few years ago, you could really just send an e-blast to an entire list. Now you could say, okay, if someone visits my sales page and watches my sales video all the way through and then comes back to that page later that day, I know that person is a hot lead. So I want to tag that person as, hot lead, potential buyer, and I want to get an alert so that I know I can reach out to that person right away, because this person is very interested not only in my site, but in what I'm selling. So that's just one example of marketing automation in action. So, ActiveCampaign is really a great tool to create those workflows.
I need to check them out. I'm using Entreport for a couple of my I mean, that stuff is magic, dude. Like, lead scoring, like, hey man, there's a big difference between someone who's clicking and engaging than someone who's not opening. So we want to market to those people that are engaging, that are our audience, So I'll have to check them out. And there's Infusionsoft, there's a few other ones too, but
Entreport's a great one too. I'm so glad to hear you're actually using a system like that, because you don't hear about a lot of smaller entrepreneurs, independent entrepreneurs using that. Usually it's like the big enterprise level companies. I'm curious, what made you choose Entreport? Because I don't know that much about it. I've heard it's a great product though.
So I was going through some of the Ryan Dye stuff, and they're big on Infusionsoft. So I gave them a shot, and it was a little more confusing for me. Okay, Infusionsoft is why they call it that, and it might be a great product. I'm sure it is for people who can do that. For me, I'm not real super tech, and so I called up Entreport. Really cool sales staff. Like their system is very, for me, user friendly. They offered like 2 hours of training. Nice. It's pretty affordable. I mean, I'm paying $300 a month, but I mean, if you saw one core offer, one product, I mean, it's going to pay for it. Yeah. So yeah, there is a learning curve, but it's not like any harder than probably GetResponse or like Aweber. I can collect payments right through there, secure, so like when someone buys a product, I'm selling information products sometimes, and someone buys a product, like I can collect a payment. I don't have to use I'm not like Sam Card or anything else. What Shopify,
WooCommerce.
Yeah. So like that is really cool. Great support. Like anytime I mess with anything, they have to have support. Like there has to be like a good support team. Absolutely. So if I call them up, they have chat. They're really helpful. So I've been recommending them. I'm not affiliated with them. I probably should be, and I probably will eventually because I like them. But Yeah. Are you using ActiveCampaign for anything yet, or for
I
your
am,
clients?
yeah. Oh,
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
absolutely. And it's not the right fit for every client. That's why I usually recommend both of those solutions for people that are not looking for the marketing automation, or maybe they're not ready for it. I'd go with GetResponse. For the ones who are looking for marketing automation and want to be able to score leads and tag different users,
Right.
then ActiveCampaign is the way to go. Yeah.
I still got a lot to learn, dude. Like the software itself is powerful. Like, I mean,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
using like a tenth of it, but
Right.
I'm
That's how I
definitely,
feel with ActiveCampaign. Yeah.
but I'm loving it, man, because like it makes life easier. And yeah, like if you're I think if you're looking to take your business to the next level, like invest in something like this for sure.
Yeah,
So,
because you see the trend. Like, I'm a big follower of Brian Harris, a video fruit, very popular online
yeah,
marketing. And I remember when he was just using, I think it was Aweber, and now you can see all his emails. Most of his emails are coming through Infusionsoft. So eventually, if your business takes off, you're going to need a
you're gonna
system
need
like
it anyway.
Entreport, Infusionsoft, ActiveCampaign. You're going to need a marketing automation system. So really, I mean, you should probably think about it early on so that you don't have to go through the headaches of having to move everyone over and then set it up from scratch all over.
Yeah, that's a nightmare trying to move. And I have a bunch of people on Aweber, and some I imported, some I was like, dude, I'm not even trying to mess with it. I'm gonna start fresh. And like you said,
Right.
like if you follow like the big 7-figure guys and you look at their emails, dude, it's all Infusionsoft,
Mhm.
Entreport, the one you mentioned, and probably a
Yeah.
few others. So cool, man. That's definitely some good information. So I think we're on tip number 5, right?
Yes. So tip number 5, landing pages. So obviously, if you want to collect more email addresses, you want to have specific landing pages set up on your site that are specifically set up for your offer. So you don't want to only use your blog. You don't want to only use your homepage or your about page to offer whatever your core offer is, or your email opt-in offer. So you want to set up very unique pages. And the tool that I like to use, again, I'm not affiliated with this, but I use it, is called Instapage, and it's a
Okay.
landing page builder. Really, in the landing page builder space, there's, I would say, 3 really big players. There's Lead Pages, which really was the first, I
Mm-hmm.
believe. There's Unbounce, which is probably the most powerful. And then
Unbounce.
there's,
Okay.
yeah, Unbounce. And then there's Instapage, which I think has the easiest interface. It's drag and drop. So you don't need to be a designer to build pages with Instapage. Again, it connects with a whole bunch of different third-party tools, including pretty much everything I mentioned earlier, ActiveCampaign, GetResponse. I believe you can even integrate it with OptiMonster, but you probably wouldn't need to, since it's a different type
You
of
already have your landing page with
right.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually the opt-in is to get someone to go to your landing page or get them to
Right.
opt in, but the landing page itself is going to be what's going to get someone to opt in. So it's drag and drop. They have a whole bunch of templates you can already use and customize, or you can create one from scratch, and it works with WordPress. So you can install a WordPress plugin and you can build your site you can build your page in Instapage and then connect it so that it's on the same domain. So you could have, for me, it would be like earnworthy.com/book. If I want to create a landing page specific for a book, or earnworthy.com/course, which is something I'm in the process of working on. But it's just very easy to customize. And some people out there might be saying, well, can't I just do all this in WordPress? You could, but it's going to take you a lot more work, especially if you are working with an existing template. It's very hard to break out of that template. And again, one of the most important things when it comes to landing page design and landing page optimization is simplicity and stripping away all the unnecessary stuff. So that's a lot more difficult to do with WordPress unless you really know what you're doing and you can dig into the code. So with something like Instapage, you can remove the navigation bar, you can remove the footer, you can only have what's essential, and you can create popover boxes. You can tie it into your email list or your email service provider. So it's a very easy, quick way to get landing pages built and launched really in a matter of minutes.
Okay, cool. And there's so many of them, man. It's like the
Yeah.
growing like ClickFunnels and Lead. I'm using ClickFunnels and Lead Pages, and
That's a
they
new
both
one.
have their pros and cons. You can build out your whole funnel in ClickFunnels. Running into a few bugs with them, but I mean they're growing so fast.
I see a
So
lot of people moving over from lead pages to ClickFunnels.
yeah.
What's the main draw you think that's pulling
Well,
people
for
away?
me, well, I don't know. I think just Lead Pages is it doesn't have like for example, like ClickFunnels has like you can build a membership site within ClickFunnels. So for me, that was like one of my things is like, okay, yeah, I can go and use like Wishlist Member Pro to create a course and stuff, but like it takes a little bit more work. So if I can build out my whole funnel in ClickFunnels, it might not be the prettiest, it might not like be all the bells and whistles, but like the content will be there. So that's why I moved over. But I still have lead pages because I still think, like I actually like them a little better as far as like customer support and like things like that. But the other two I have to check out because I haven't heard of them yet. So I need to definitely look at that. And, I'm a tool junkie, man, when it comes to that stuff. Like you said, man, like you can do it the hard way and try to save a few bucks. Everybody's like, oh, how much does this cost or whatever. Right. I mean, I'm preaching to the choir here, but like if you build an email list, even if it's a small list, you're going to be able to monetize that eventually. If we're internet marketers, you should be able to monetize that list at some point. Yeah. And so I know Noah Kagan was saying like 90% of his business comes from the email list. That's a multi-million.
Crazy.
You know what I mean? So if you guys haven't obviously picked up the clue by now, build a freaking email list. I don't care what you got to do. Nicholas is dropping a ton of good information here. So it's the basis of all even like Facebook, like people are like, oh, is email marketing going to die? I'm like, dude, like Facebook is making it very hard to connect with our audiences. Even if you have a page, like if people are engaging in your page, they won't display it to the feed, So that's why I created a group, because it's like, if I want to post something to my group, they're going to get it if they're on the group.
Right. That's like the last place on Facebook where you can really reach your entire audience.
Yeah. And someone was saying you can actually email your group in Facebook. So I don't know. Yeah. Somehow. Yeah, I don't have to take a look at that because I got about 1,000 members in the group. And if I want to send an email blast, I might have to do that. So some of you guys are probably watching this like, don't send me anything, Jason, but I'm going to spam you guys. No, I'm just kidding. Gosh, man. So yeah, you said the tools that you recommended for that are Instapage and Instapage basically.
Yeah, I would say Instapage is probably, but I mean, ClickFunnels is a great product as too. There's so many good ones out there. I would say if you're looking for the easiest one that's drag and drop, definitely check out Instapage. I think they have a 45-day free trial.
Oh, cool.
Because it is a paid product. But again, like you said, you got to invest in your business. Just like you invest in yourself, you got to invest in your business. And having just a few paid tools, if they're really, really good tools that are going to make you money, it's usually worth the price.
Oh, most definitely. Cool, man. So I think we're on number 6.
Yeah. So next, actually, it's Facebook ads.
Okay.
So, even though I'm an inbound marketer, I definitely use some paid media because, not all inbound marketers are against paid media.
Right.
As long as the ads are relevant, as long as they're highly targeted, as long as they're non-interruptive. So Facebook is perfect for that, especially when it comes to newsfeed ads, because newsfeed ads are highly targeted. They are created in a way where they look like content. They look like something that's going to provide you value because that's what you want. You want to provide your audience with value. So I would say a great way to build your email list is to use Facebook as a way to drive traffic. Because that's the big dilemma. It's like if you don't have traffic, you're not going to get people to your website and they're not going to convert and become leads, and then you're not going to have anybody on your email list. So you got to have the traffic component. And Ryan Deiss talks all the time about, you don't have a traffic problem anymore because traffic is something you can buy for a very cheap price, and it's highly targeted. It's not just click farms anymore.
Right.
If you use Facebook. But the power of Facebook really is in all the custom audiences you can set up. So like you can take your entire email list, like let's say you have 1,000 people on your email list already, you can upload that audience to Facebook, and then you can create what's called a lookalike audience. So Facebook will actually go and first they'll match back those email addresses to Facebook users. And on average, Facebook has the ability to usually match about 70% of your email list that you upload, which means that out of those 1,000 people, 700 of them are using that email address with their Facebook account. So once Facebook identifies, okay, well, these are the people on your list, now we've identified them on Facebook, you can then tell Facebook to create an audience that looks and behaves like those people using their same demographic information, the same interests, the same location. And so you can take a list of 1,000 people and multiply it 10 times or 20 times. So you create a really big audience that you can then market to. Right. But these are people that are highly targeted and very likely to opt in because they look and behave like your people that have already opted in. So custom audiences are very powerful. You can also set up retargeting lists. So anyone who visits your website, you can place a cookie on their browser using
you pixeled me today, probably.
Right. Absolutely.
We'll be seeing some inbound and unboxed marketing coming my way, man.
You got it. So yeah, so that's another very powerful tactic of, you've got to use remarketing. And what I always tell people is at least start building your remarketing list, because it's good for up to 180 days. And you don't pay anything to Facebook until you actually advertise to that audience. So there's no harm in placing the pixel on your site and start building that audience. And hey, if you use it a month from now, great. And at least at that point, then you'll have an audience built up of everyone who's visited your website.
I love it. Yeah. So even if they don't take action, it'll pixel them and let us know, hey, like Johnny visited, and so we can send him an email in his newsfeed, or an advertisement in his newsfeed for whatever we're doing. And one thing that I've been studying a lot is just like, and you probably can expound on this as well, like send them to a blog post, send them to a really awesome kick-ass blog post. Not I think what people are doing is they're sending them to a squeeze page, and Facebook doesn't like that. You know what I mean? No. And you know that Facebook doesn't play around. Like if you, piss Facebook off, you're done. You know. So, can you talk a little bit about like what would be like one thing you would do to like your first campaign? Just would it be a blog post or a video or something? Yeah,
that's actually a very popular campaign funnel that I've been seeing a lot of on Facebook lately, where you create one really epic blog post, and you put in a lot of value into this post. You really go full force with it, and so then what you do is you promote that post on Facebook, not using the boost post button, but actually going into the ads manager or going into Power Editor and really being specific with the targeting and doing it right. Like you can lose a lot of money if you just click that post button. Definitely, that's an amateur move. So nobody.
Go into the Power Editor and get the business account set up and all that. Yeah.
Right. And then what you do is you drive traffic to that blog post. When they hit that blog page, you obviously are going to have something like Opt-in Monster running. So you're going to have an on-screen offer that's going to pop up that's relevant to that content. But if they don't take that offer, you're still going to retarget them. So you want to make sure you have your Facebook pixel, and then the retargeting audience, the people that have hit that blog post but didn't opt in, those are the ones you want to retarget using Facebook ads. And I wouldn't call it a squeeze page, but you want to send them to something that's, maybe a content upgrade page, only, that's all it offers. It's not a blog post. But if you do it to the retargeting traffic, not to the cold traffic, you're more likely to get them to opt in because they already are familiar with your site. They already know you provide value. Maybe they just weren't ready at that moment to opt in, but they'd be much more likely on that second go around. And so, you are paying for 2 clicks basically, but usually the retargeting click is pretty inexpensive.
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast. It's called like the Perpetual Traffic Podcast, and they had a guy on. He was saying that like his retargeted traffic was converting like crazy because they'd already seen him. And the adage is nowadays you got to get in front of your audience 7 or 8 times sometimes before they buy something from you. It's not, hey, I'm Nicholas or Jason, come buy our stuff because we're cool people. It's like you got to provide that value, man. So that's something I'm working on right now. It's just like putting out a phenomenal blog post. It's like better than paid content. Like it has to be like your best work. You can't just, your first impression has to be on point. So I'm working on it, man. It's not easy.
Not easy.
Not easy to write an epic blog post, man.
You're going above and beyond. Look at this. I mean, you're doing video, you're doing a podcast. So you're definitely creating different types of content. It doesn't always have to be a blog post.
For sure. It can be videos too. Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. So cool, man. Definitely some great information. Tip number 7, man. What's the last tip for building a good email list?
Last but not least, guest posting and podcast interviews. Those, I think, are 2 of the best ways you can build attention around your brand and get your name out there. Because really, when it comes to building an email list, getting people to opt in my opinion, is a solvable problem. It's just a matter of refining how you actually ask for the opt-in. When do you ask for it? and what's the offer? What is it? And if people aren't opting in, but you're getting a lot of traffic, that means you just have to keep refining one of those elements. Usually your offer is not clear enough, or it's not delivering enough value. But the bigger problem is really getting traffic. Because a lot of people, even though Ryan Deiss says you don't have a traffic problem, you can buy it, you still have to pay for it if you go that route. So a lot of people don't want to do that. They want that free traffic. They want SEO. They want people just naturally finding them and visiting their site. And so I think the best ways to do that as quickly as possible, rather than the slower approach of SEO, which is still important, but it does take time, is write guest posts. Go to the sites that you feel are where your audience currently lives. If they're in the motivation space, find other people that are blogging about motivation, but make sure that they have some audience. You don't want to go to another brand new blog. Right. And then another place that's a great way to get traffic is to just do podcast interviews, just like this. Right. I love doing interviews. I love interviewing other people, and jumping on a podcast, it takes like 20, 30 minutes. Usually you're also going to get a backlink out of that. So keep that in mind. If you go on someone else's podcast, 9 times out of 10, they're going to write up show notes, or they're going to put it somewhere on their site, and they're going to link back to your site. So it's a great way to get a high valued backlink, which is, SEO 101. You want to get as many backlinks as possible. So keep that in mind. There's a lot of value you can get out of doing the whole podcast circuit. But definitely getting traffic to your site is one of them.
So I linked up with you and some other people, man. I said, hey, I had my assistant. I said, reach out to some of the people that are, in kind of my space that have an audience, and let's work something out, because if you don't do that, you're not going to find people. I have a circle of people, but it only goes so far. You know what I mean? So get out there, get out of your comfort zone. And if you want to make this make a living at this, man, you gotta get uncomfortable sometimes, man. Exactly. You gotta take put your pride aside and do stuff, man, and have some fun, dude. And I always tell people, man, especially podcasting is have a cool conversation, and I'm sure some of the reason you started your podcast is you'd have these conversations with people, and you're like, damn, I wish I would have recorded that,
Exactly.
And put it up on the internet, because people can get a lot of value out of this, dude. So cool, man. Well, dude, you've been so gracious sharing these tips, dude. I've learned a lot. Got a lot of cool tools I need to research, and I'll probably cost me a couple bucks. I'm probably going to invest in something. Definitely not another email marketing tool, because I think I'm good with Entrepreneur.
Yeah, you're good.
The other stuff I might take a look at, man. So, well, geez, man, is there any closing thoughts? I know we can find you at earnworthy.com. Your podcast is Inbound and Unboxed, and I know, congratulations, because it was on the upcoming, what are they calling on iTunes?
The new and noteworthy.
Yeah. So I'm going to be definitely listening to this, because you have 20 episodes in right now, or 26?
Yeah, I think 26, but I've recorded about 30. So, I'm putting out 2 a week. So you can go to inboundunboxed.com to hear the latest episode.
Yeah, man, this is, okay. So you've got okay, cool. So you got your own blog for that as well, your own site for that as well. Cool. Because I'm looking on Earnworthy, and you've got some episodes too, man. But, this is slick, dude. I need to get whatever plugin you have for your blog or whatever. This looks a lot better than
I'm actually doing a lot of edits to the site right now. So it's a little bit, I keep tweaking it and changing it. I can't leave it alone. Everyone's like, just leave your own website alone. Work on all your clients.
I hear you, man. So
I always have to keep testing.
Cool. And if people want to get in contact with you, you have the consulting tab right up in the header of your site, man. Yeah. So if you are taking on new people, man, dude, you've been great information, dude. I'm so glad you came on here. I got to implement this stuff, dude, because I've been pounding the email marketing thing for quite some time now, because I did it the wrong way before. You know what I mean? I did the asking the girl to marry me on the first date. You know what I mean? Instead of actually building the value in the list. So, Nicholas, it's been a pleasure having you on, man. Hopefully we can have you on somewhere down the road and expound on this. And I know there's a lot more we could go into, but it's been great, man. So thank you very much.
Awesome. Anytime. Glad to be on. I'll definitely be listening to the future episodes. It's a great show. So keep it up.
All right. Thanks, man. Have a great day.
Take care.